I just want to go on record that I am disappointed in both you and Cammy. because you both had to swap something out. And neither of you picked the Isekai Mom Show. Neither of you picked the Isekai Mom Show.
Wait, you are mad at me because I have taste?
Wait.
You picked the Lolly Show.
Wait, what's
the mom one? Because the mom one, I saw a screen cap where his face was in her boobs, and she's like, "Son, your mommy is all wet," and I was like, "Fuck no."
That would have been hilarious.
It's on Twitter.
Oh no.
Hello and welcome to episode 120 of the Annie Chatbox, where 5 friends snuggle up in a teeny tiny space to talk about all things anime. I'm going to be your host today, Cassie, for the second week in a row. I guess I did okay enough last week for them to let me come back and do this again. Crazy thought.
This is your last chance.
Oh god! What?
I can't fuck this up! What's that Eminem song about, like, you only got one chance?
You only got one chance, one shot! Something, I don't know.
I don't know.
Not miss your chance.
It's lose yourself, I think. Though.
That's the one, yeah.
This opportunity comes once in a lifetime! Anyway.
Yes.
I'm gonna lose myself in the music of the anime.
I just want to see Cass and Cam just freeform rapping right now.
I mean, maybe someday it'll happen. We broke into musical a couple episodes ago, which was pretty fun when she was visiting.
Yeah.
But that said, all of the people speaking so far are here today. It's a full house because today we're going to be doing our seasonal splash tank. But before we get around to describing what that is and what you'll be hearing, I want to go ahead and round this table out and introduce everyone who's here. My singing and fellow rap battle queen, Miss Cammy, is here today.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Cammy and the Hizzle House. Someone shoot me.
A fun fact about Cammy, her boyfriend is actually really good at rapping, apparently.
Yes, he is. He's very good, and I've been like, you want to make me happy? Give me a cover of Eminem's Rap God, and he says no, every time.
Aww.
Ask it for your birthday. Just be like,
you know what?
I don't even need any monetary, like valuable thing. I just want to hear your sweet, docile tones rapping.
Actually,
in my ears.
A couple weeks ago, we went to a place that serves really good karaage, and they played DNA by Kendrick Lamar, which we both love, and we did actually go, oh shit! And then we started rapping the entire thing, and then we went home. That was pretty great.
That's adorable. Excuse me. I just had a moment there. You know who else I'd love to hear to rap? Who I would love to hear rap? John. That would be great. John in the His House.
I don't know anything about me ever rapping, but yeah. Hello, I'm here.
What if I commissioned you? What if I gave you like $20?
I like how... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go. I wasn't really going anywhere.
I like how John is very slyly, like, pretending about the fact that he is not laying down a couple bars for one of our patron reward requests that will come out eventually. Because he laid down some bars, people. It happened. I have proof.
Speaking of laying down and lifting up bars, somebody's going to be talking about dumbbells today, and that is our lovely, lovely fellow host, Dominic.
Why do you have to spoil that? They didn't know that.
It's not a spoiler if they listen to the Summer Picks episode.
Why'd you have to spoil it? Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't listen to that episode, honey.
I could be lying for all they know then. You're the one spoiling it by saying I'm spoiling it.
That's not how this works. That's not how that works.
The anime god has spoken. Moving on, Craig is also here. We've actually been podcasting a lot together this week.
Yeah, we literally just did the song and dance not 2 days ago, in fact, as of the time of this recording.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. And we basically were talking about the same thing, too, and that is seasonal anime, though we will be specifically focusing on the summer season, and we'll be following up on our previous episode where we had summer picks. This is the episode where we give our impressions, or as Leoites call them, the splash tank. We basically put all of our anime in, like, one of those fun little contraptions that you see at the fair, and we either throw a ball and make them sink, or we help them escape and let them swim away. I don't really know. Our lore is all over the place. I think also we said either we are throwing them outside of a boat if they suck, and then if not, we give them a little paddle boat. I don't know. Some of them will sink, some of them will swim. But regardless, all of us are going to be contributing today with our previously selected anime. What we're going to do, because we needed to iron out recently how we were going to do this. So when it comes to our Splash Tank episodes, we're going to give an introduction of what the anime is, talk about why we picked it, or why we selected it, or wanted to watch it, whether it be the studio, it sounded interesting. In my case, with Handshakers, the cover art looked pretty. That was a mistake. Or whatever reason it was that you picked it, and then if we will be adding it to our review list via a swim or sinking it into some ungodly substance that the hosts have to come up with on the spot. We will be going in a round robin style, starting with Gregory. What's the first thing you have on the chopping block today?
The first thing on the chopping block is the anime called BEM, all stylized as all capitals BEM. This show is actually not the first iteration of this. This is a show from the 60s, so this is its 50th anniversary. Fun fact of that. I had no idea about this, but this originally was called Demon Man BEM. As you all know, if you listen to the bottle episode, basically it deals with 3 yokai blending into society and trying to fight bad yokai. And in the process, they want to become human, more like humans. I picked this, admittedly this was lower on the tier list of my choices, but I do recall that the PB had some sick jazz, and that's definitely a highlight of the first 3 episodes, is the music, which is, let's see here, performed by the band Soil and quote-unquote Pimp Sessions. So, that's an interesting band name. Outside the music, however, this show is kind of subpar. It's from a no-name production company. Production IG kind of helped assist it, but it doesn't really have much going on, at least within the first 3 episodes. Like, literally, it's just character introduction, character introduction, character introduction. You're fighting a monster. Everything is drab and dark. A lot of, like, saturated colors. There's a cop lady involved with the 3 main characters, Bem, Bellos, and Bella. And this cop is, like,
under arrest.
The cops throwing his sirens out.
Quite literally, the cops are after us, guys. There's a cop. This takes place in like some fictionalized version of New York where it counts as like Manhattan is the upper and the outer is like probably what I would assume is Brooklyn or Queens. And it has like typical cop shenanigans with like, oh, the cop wants to do the right thing, but other cops are trying to take bribes and essentially let crime run rampant, mixing in with all these yokai. It sounds like an interesting premise, however, again, the execution kind of falls flat. I honestly kind of was bored half the time. The animation and as well as the fight choreography is kind of subpar. And in the sea of standout shows this season, there are some heavy hitters this season from what I've observed. This one does not stand with the pack. This sinks into the ocean, or in like the river, you know, someone threw it in the river of Manhattan. So there you go.
I was about to say, did you realize we've used ocean too much, so you just swapped to a different body of water?
Yes. I also, mid-thought was this does place in New York, but I'm not necessarily the smartest, so I can't remember the Manhattan River. I can't remember if it's all just one river name. So, either way, the yokais drown in the river surrounding New York.
I love it. Alright, the one giggling over there, you're next.
Hi.
Hi. Hey.
My first show is Copcraft. That is just Copcraft. It does not have a Japanese title.
We went from one show about cops to another show about cops.
Yeah. All the
Do
cops.
they do arts and crafts?
Ha! I get it.
I would have liked the show more if that were the case. That'd
Yeah,
be fun.
probably.
Just on their off time.
So Copcraft is about a city. I think it's in America. Where there's a portal, I guess, to this other fantasy world, and the fantasy creatures and people are now mingling with the modern day American city. And you follow this cop named Kay, and his partner dies. It's very typical buddy cop setup. And so he gets this small knight lady from the other world as his new partner, and they butt heads and stuff because they're so different. And so that's the basic premise. It sounds stupid. It is pretty stupid, but unfortunately for me, it kind of takes itself more seriously than I would like.
Yeah.
So I wish they would do crafts that would probably just be stupid, and I could laugh at it. But yeah, Copcraft is kind of, it's just very middle of the road, a cop drama with a side of fantasy, I guess, but it doesn't feel very entertaining to me, so I'm gonna sink it.
Into what?
I'm gonna sink it into, I'm gonna sink it.
Almost sink it.
I'm gonna sink it.
If you continue your trend, I will be impressed.
Into what?
I'm gonna sink it.
Continue your trend, Dom.
Why don't you sink it into fairy goo or something?
Because we don't know if it's goo. They're just in a little thing.
They're in a little. You can sink it into a little
fairy juice. Into fairy juice.
Fairy juice.
We'll call it fairy juice. So there's this drug deal going on in the show where they're using fairies to make people go crazy or into zombies or something. Anyways, they capture the fairies in these little capsules, and they're in water or whatever. So it sinks into the fairy juice.
There we go.
I'm gonna sink it.
There you go.
I get it. You're gonna sink it.
I'm gonna sink it.
I got it.
I'm a racket.
There we go.
Good.
Sink it good. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. John, what's your pick?
Yeah, my next pick, I need to quickly say, it was supposed to be Teaser Master Takagi-san, Season 2, but due to licensing issues, it is not available anywhere, so I kind of can't watch it at all, so we agreed to swap it out for something else, so instead I'm going to be talking about Arifureta Shokugyou de Sekai Saikyou, or Arifureta from the Commonplace to World's Strongest, which I probably should actually read the synopsis, because we therefore have not read the synopsis in the previous episode, did we?
Good point.
Go for it.
So the synopsis goes: 17-year-old Hajime Nagumo is your average everyday otaku. However, his simple life of pulling all-nighters and sleeping in school is suddenly turned upside down when he, along with the rest of his class, is summoned to a fantasy world. They're treated...
Oh
Oh no!
Ay, Dios mío.
They're treated like heroes and tasked with the duty of saving the human race from utter extinction. But what should have been any otaku's wet dream quickly turns into Hajime's nightmare. Well,
I didn't say it.
I just can't get over that is so on the nose of the fucking isekai genre at this point.
while the rest of his class are blessed with godlike powers, Hajime's job, Synergist, only has a single transmutation skill. Ridiculed and bullied by his classmates for being weak, he soon finds himself in despair. Will he be able to survive in this dangerous world of monsters and demons with only a glorified blacksmith's level of strength? Dun dun dun.
I just want to go on record that I am disappointed in both you and Cammy because you both had to swap something out. And neither of you picked the Isekai Mom Show. Neither of you picked the Isekai Mom Show.
Was it
So,
like
wait,
the-
you are
the
mad at
mom-
me because I have taste?
Wait,
You picked the Lolly Show.
wait. What?
The
what's
mom one, because the mom one, I saw a screen cap where his face was in her boobs, and she's like, "Son, your mommy is all wet," and I was like, "Fuck no."
That would have been hilarious. What are you
It's
talking about?
it's on Twitter.
Oh no.
That sounds hilarious. Anyway, John, continue.
At this point, I'm kind of wishing I had picked the Sekai Mom Show. It might have had a better chance
Oh, wow.
than this.
Oh no.
That's unfortunate.
So, yeah, this one kind of starts off in the middle of it. Like, it starts off with our hero in a dungeon, actually at the bottom, not the bottom of the dungeon, but like somewhere towards the bottom of the dungeon, alone, surrounded by monsters, trying to just survive when he can't even fight. And then we get brought up to speed via flashbacks across all 3 of the episodes that I watched. Because it's like, oh, everything up until this point is boring. This is when it gets good. And then they realize, oh wait, we kind of need everything to explain why we're in this position in the first place. Also, it doesn't seem like the entire class has been ridiculing him. Just one particular guy has been given a hard time. And there's one girl that quite obviously has the hots for him. For some reason.
Of course.
Because of course she does. Anywho, he's at the bottom of this dungeon. He somehow manages to survive and kill a monster, eats it, and turns into a complete edgelord.
Oh.
And then makes a gun and becomes a badass, slaying anything and everything around him.
Judgment gun morphing!
God damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, you are what you eat, I guess.
This show's
And-
sounding more and more like edgelord run-of-the-mill shit
And
as you go on.
As he kills and eats the enemies down here, he gains their
Wait,
powers.
he eats more of them?
Yes,
Oh my
because
god.
he gains their powers from eating them, despite how nasty they taste and how they
Wait,
kind of poison
Is this
him.
God Eater? Is this God Eater right now? Is that what's going on?
It's Isekai All-You-Can-Eat Buffet Edition.
That's-
And
I
then
love it.
and then he comes across this mysterious room where there is a girl trapped inside a cube, begging him to release her, and he's like, "You're trapped at the bottom of a dungeon in a cube. I'm not releasing you. You're clearly trapped here for a reason." And then she convinces him to let her go because she was betrayed. So he lets the lolly vampire go because
And then
she's
she
a vampire.
Eats him. Surprising twist.
She does.
Oh my god!
Oh!
There's a lot of vor in this.
Or she's.
I-
or
yeah,
she's-
That's a
Thank
lot.
you, Dom. Thank you. I was
I'm
like,
fine
nobody's saying it. Thank you.
So he's kind of like continues his way through this dungeon with this naked lolly vampire on his back, every so often biting into his neck for a snack.
Yum.
And I'm just
I was kind of hoping she ate all of him.
no, not
Like,
quite
I was-
all of him, but
Aww.
but yeah, it's just it's just so hard to keep track of what's going on. And yeah, it turns out that what I said about them jumping in the middle of it, that is exactly what they did with the light novels upon reading comments about the episodes. Apparently it's like a 40 volume long series or something like that, and they're trying to cram it into a 12 episode season.
Great.
Or 13 episodes rather. And yeah, they started at the middle.
That makes sense.
Sure.
As
why
you
not?
do. But yeah, it sinks.
Will you continue to watch this despite it sinking?
I am going to continue watching this because I am just like, what the hell? It's like watching a train wreck at this point. You can't take your eyes away from it. I just want to see where the hell this goes.
If it goes anywhere.
If it goes anywhere. Also, I couldn't help but notice the kid that was bullied goes nuts, makes a gun, and starts screaming about wanting to kill everyone. Kids, don't bully your classmates, please. You never know who's gonna snap.
So it sinks into what? What is it sinking into?
It sinks into the pile of corpses of leftover meat that this guy leaves behind everywhere he goes.
Gross.
Aw, he doesn't even eat it all.
No, he doesn't.
What the fuck?
So wait, then
That's
it's
so
not
wasteful.
Then it's not vor, damn it.
It's not. That is just so wasteful.
No, he just eats a bit of them until it stops helping him anymore.
Oh my god. Alright.
Cammy, I see where your priorities lie.
Well, it was so funny when Zach was like, Sarazanmai has a vor sequence every week. I didn't know more anime was gonna keep doing this.
God damn it.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
Cammy!
Oh
you're
my
up.
god! Okay, it's actually really fucking okay, never mind. I saw a cursed Twitter post that also had to do with someone making a vor joke about the show that I'm about to talk to you about right now. So hold on.
Oh no. Oh no.
I also just want to quickly point out that there's like 5 different isekai series this season.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
There's a lot.
Par for the course.
Anyway, I am here and I'm going to talk to you about Lord El-Melloi 2 Sei no Jikenbo Rail Zeppelin Grace Note, or the Lord El-Melloi's Case Files Rail Zeppelin Grace Note. So,
Damn.
yeah, this show...
Starting out strong.
Why, thank you. Yeah, this show follows Waver Velvet. If you don't know who Waver Velvet is, he was a master in the Holy Grail War that took place over the anime series Fate Zero that a lot of people really, really like. This show takes place 10 years later, and he basically is now very old, very sad, and he's a depressed boy. And he ends up getting kidnapped by this girl who claims that she is related to his previous teacher, the teacher who he stole a heroic servant from to be able to fight in the war in Fate Zero. And this little girl is like, yeah, he died, and I'm too young to become the next Lord El-Melloi in his place. So I want you to basically take the name Lord El-Melloi, become a professor in the Clock Tower, which is a society of mages, and basically do my bidding for me. So now we have older Waver who has acquired his own servant who acts as his assistant. Her name is Gray. She's very cute. She's a nice girl. I like her. And he is also teaching a class in the clock tower with a lot of disaster kids. It's very fun. We've gotten introduced to a few of them. They're all wacky outcasts, and they do funny things that like angers him, and they also like help him out. And he's just basically wandering around solving mysteries. And as someone who really loves Fate Zero and really, 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 really loves Waver Velvet, he's my son. This show is just pandering to me on so many levels. I love the animation as well. It is done by Troika, and there are times that they reference actual just like straight up scenes that happened in Fate Zero, and they've done a really good job being able to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Basically do their own version of the Ufotables art style in Fate Zero. It weaves together very well. It doesn't seem like, this is just doesn't look at all the same. Like, it's honestly very smooth. I'm very impressed. The backgrounds are gorgeous and the characters look great. They've got good expressions. My biggest issue with this show is that it is a mystery series, and it seems like they're trying to get you in a lot of episodes to be set up to the mystery, and then you're supposed to kind of be able to solve it with Waver and Gray and whoever's there. But the context of the mysteries is like knee deep in a bunch of just very like archaic like mage lore. I don't know how much of it is actually practiced, by people or is just within the Fate universe. But you don't have the proper context to really be able to try to solve the mysteries. So if someone really just wants to get into a mystery anime, I wouldn't recommend this show based on that, because you're going to have a hard time and you're not going to get it until it's spelled out for you. Or if you do get it, it's usually because it was so simple that like you pick it up very quickly. So honestly, I'd say pick like Hyoka as a mystery show over over this one. But I really love this show. I think the art is gorgeous. I think the music is amazing. It follows one of my favorite characters. If you're a fan of Fate Zero, like on some surface level, I think that you'd have a little bit of fun with this. And I just really can't wait to see where it goes. So it absolutely swims. I am so happy, and I am hype as hell to watch more of it.
Woohoo!
First swim of the night. Bow, 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 bow.
Yeah.
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 You fucking hype.
Yeah.
I tragically have not started this show yet. I know how much it means to Cammy, but I still have not. I've heard that there's a kid who vomits blood.
Yes.
Yep.
Wait,
That's
yes! Oh, yeah. He's in episode, he's in the first episode.
Yeah, I've only seen episode 0 and episode 1 so far.
I feel like, Cassie, you would really like, the girl who's basically is just like, I'm just gonna make you my slave. I'm gonna make you do my bidding. Her name is Rhinus. She has a really cute design, and she's kind of like sassy, but also like kind of just a little bit like snarky and evil. I really like her. I think
excited.
That you would enjoy her. Yeah, she's good.
That sounds very much like my type.
Yes.
All right, now it's my turn to talk.
Yeah.
Today I bring to you the judge and jury. Katsute kami Datta Kemono-tachi, also known as To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts. I say to the court, this is a Studio Mappa production. They can do no wrong. There's only a bunch of evidence that they are perfect in every way. That aside, I think this is probably the worst thing that they've ever done.
Ooh. Damn.
It's just... Okay, here's the thing. It looks really nice. I will give it that. And I do think that the character designs are very unique. I know that they don't hit with everyone. I know our friend Zach was not a big fan of the character designs, which he mentioned on their episode of Save Our Progress. But I think that they were interesting, and I think for the most part the show looks relatively nice, especially because there's a lot of monster designs that for the most part are hand-drawn. which is really impressive, and I appreciate it. But the show opened with a bunch of soldiers running towards a brick wall and dying, and I had a hard time getting behind that. Like, the opening scene is, oh, we're all gonna die, let's run at this wall and continue running, because I guess that makes sense. And then the creatures show up and they save the day. But twist, the creatures are actually humans that have been altered, and it turns out that once the war is over... actually, even during the war, some of these creatures, or these humans that become creatures, would lose their mind. They wouldn't be able to remain human, and they would just go on rampages. The war ends, and now these creatures are trying to find peaceful lives, but most of them are going insane. So one of their kind is going around and murdering them. So it is literally a Monster of the Week show about a guy going around and putting his friends out of their misery.
Ooh.
Which could have been really interesting. And to be fair, I do think that there were a couple episodes where, it almost made me care. But they just tried to shove so very much in the first episode, that it comes off as rushed and honestly kind of bland. Even though it's such an interesting... I hate making the comparison because a lot of people are making the comparison, but a lot of people are saying it's very similar to the show that Craig talked about, Fairy Gone.
Yep.
Where it looks really nice, it could have been a great premise, but the way it's executed is just somehow makes a really great premise look mediocre. That's this show. So they both suffer from the same thing, from what I've been told. And I'm sad, because this could have been a great show. It looks nice. I do like that one of the main characters is a woman out for vengeance. That is exactly my type of female. I want her to go out and kick ass and take names. But she also takes a back seat to our main manly man who's putting all of his friends out of their misery. So it's just kind of like she's along for the ride. So I feel like she's very much kind of underutilized as well. Also, it seems weird that she was having trouble shooting deer in the first episode to save her family from going hungry, but later on she's willing to shoot a grown man. I don't know. It's all very contrived and not very well done. And unfortunately, I will just have it sink into the remains of the most recent friend who's been put out of their misery.
Damn.
Ooh. Oof.
Big oof. Big oof. But hey, it's a Monster of the Week of the show, which I actually get to say, hey, it's a Monster of the Week show. Yay!
All these sinkings of every show that we've ever done are the most morbid, fucked up things we could ever do to any IP. It's really sad.
I mean, they took our time away. They took our
True.
precious time on this earth away.
True.
Yeah, so we will take away theirs.
Oh, yes!
We will end them.
We will end you, anime. One show at a
I
time.
also just realized 2 of these are drowning corpses.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, and I think they're both monster corpses.
Yeah.
So,
Gross.
I mean, half humans, whatever. But yeah, Craig, back to you.
Okay, next up we have Maidens in Your Savage Season, which, by the by, me and Cass thought it was Savage Garden. It is not the name of the band, but with Chicka Chicka Cherry Cola, which is really sad. The Japanese name, obviously, being Araburu Kisetsu no Otome-domo yo. This show is the IP / manga / anime produced by Marakata. Hey, that's a girl who's got some clout about her. She's got like a name, a pedigree. Some people like her, some people don't like her. It depends on who you ask, really. And again, I said it before, and apparently Cass and Cammy stare daggers at me when I mentioned Zach brought this to my attention. But you know what? This show is delightful and grounded, yet also kind of interesting because Cass brought this up on the Save Our Progress episode, that we don't really see a show about femininity and the like what it is, like sexual desires and what is sex. Like that's basically the show. A group of girls in a literary club reading like light novels and novels about like being adults, and just it's them going through their high school adolescence and trying to discover what is the big word sex, what does it mean to you, like interacting with the opposite sex and yada yada, and the misunderstandings that could arise from this. I'm caught up on the show, mind you. Another shout out to the art. It's fucking gorgeous. I'm rambling here. I assume everyone else has watched this show outside of Sans Dom, right?
I have not
have
yet.
no
I
interest.
need to.
Yeah. So the question remains whether this sinks or swims. I will say that this swims because not only is it something unique, and again, we don't see something like this every so often. I feel as though Cass and Cammy would be sad if I were to have this sink.
You'd be right.
Yeah.
I would be a little upset. It's very rare that you get to see feminine puberty and confusion and I don't know, just sexual desire even displayed in anime or other mediums as well. It's a very touchy subject for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I mentioned it on Save Our Progress, but the only other time in recent memory that I remember it even being slightly touched on was with Scum's Wish.
Yeah.
And even that wasn't necessarily a positive look at sex. It was more a
Toxic.
like how sex is toxic, kind of, and how just individual feeling. Like all the people in that show were just kind of bad people. These are young girls who are experiencing those thoughts for the first time, and that makes it interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very nice, like slightly more substantive, like softer version of like what I went to Bigata HK for, you know, because it was just
that's true.
Was just like a girl being able to kind of talk about and embrace her sexuality, and I'm so thankful that this show exists and the way that it's been tackling it so far.
I must give it a watch.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So happy.
Yeah?
You know what it's time for, though, guys?
What is it time for?
Some Sight the Just Stole!
Oh no.
Oh no.
My next show is Dumbbell Nankiro Moteru, or How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift, which is a Doga Koba show. Yeah! Our favorite.
Woo!
Are there underage girls in this show?
No.
Thank God.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
technically yes, but not in the sense that they usually are doing, so that's a bit better. Yeah.
They're
So
improving.
this is a show about working out, and getting fit. And it's about a girl, I believe her name is Hibiki. She finds out that she is gaining weight and she wants to lose it. So she enlists in this gym, and I guess she meets one of her other classmates there who is also signing up for the gym, and she's like a super into working out and stuff. She has a muscle fetish, yada yada yada. And basically this is just a sort of episodic look at her going to this gym, learning new exercises, meeting new people, and getting fit. This show is surprisingly fun and educational. The educational part is actually super important because I was not expecting that. The show goes to great lengths to explain all the exercises, explain the what part of your body it's specifically working out, explain dieting and other helpful exercise habits, which I think is actually super cool that it actually goes that in depth. And at the end of each episode, it like has like a little workout, kind of like, oh, work out with us. Here's, you know, this specific workout. Here's how many reps you should do. Yada yada yada. Which I also think is pretty cool. So on that merit, like just what it encourages, I think the show is actually definitely worth watching. As far as the content, there's like fan service because you know most of the characters are girls, and there's like their like coach is this ripped, like super muscly dude named Machio. He's got like this handsome face, but his like body is just fucking bulging, almost disgustingly so.
It's terrifying.
Not almost. It's just disgustingly buff.
I am disgustingly buff.
So yeah, there's like this there's like fan service in that sense if you're into that. If you're into like super ripped dudes, like uncomfortably ripped, then this is the anime. This is the one for you.
High fidelity muscles that ripple when they flex.
Yeah, and then the girls themselves are also, there's fan service with the girls, you know, like when they're doing like workouts and stuff, it'll like close in on their like, you know, their chest or whatever, or stuff like that. But it's like, it's not like disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me a lot of like old, like 80s, 90s workout videos.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, I'm kind of like, I mean, it fits, I guess.
All we need is the guy with, like, in a crazy getup with, like, an afro and a sweatband. Just say, all right, let's jazzercise, guys. Let's do this. All right.
But, yeah, so this show passes. It swims. Because it is fun to watch, just on a, like, entertainment spectrum, but it's also something I think people should watch because it teaches you nice things about exercise and getting fit. Not that I'll ever use it, but maybe someone else can.
I mean, I'm going to try. I have some dumbbells, and I think I'm going to start trying to do some arm exercises at the minimum.
Yeah. I look forward to watching this show every Wednesday. It's delightful.
It's fun.
It is so much fun. And I just like seeing all the exercises, yeah.
Yeah. I told, I think it was Dominic or Zach or somebody that, like, the muscles are a lot, but I would rather have muscle fan service than be forced to stare up a 5-year-old skirt any day. So,
yeah.
If this is what Dogakobo wants to spend their time on, I'm so for it.
Oh my god, I just remember we watched this, and I was slightly high, and the ending theme came on, and I was so transfixed with everything happening. I was just like, this is kind of mesmerizing. Muscle. Yeah, good stuff, though. I think this show, for me, is just, like, so strangely delightful, because, like, it's not out here being like, it's not strange. Like, the massively ripped guys and stuff, it's very odd, but you just like it. You just like watching it.
It's just fun. It's just a good old time.
Yeah.
John, why don't you tell us a little bit about the demon girl next door? What's she up to?
Yeah. So the next series I'm talking about is Machikado Mazoku, or the demon girl next door. It's not the most polished series ever. I will throw that out there. It's a very dumb series. I'll say this outright. But it also knows it's a dumb series and is not taking itself seriously in any way, shape, or form. And as a result, it's surprisingly adorable and funny. That I end up laughing quite a bit to it. So the story is that our main character, Yuko, suddenly wakes up one day having grown horns and a tail. As she has awakened to her family's bloodline of demon powers that were being sealed away, and now she must go out and find a magical girl and defeat them so that she can restore her family's powers to them so that they don't have to live in poverty anymore because they have all their luck drained from them as a result. And so she sets out to find the magical girl and gets saved by a magical girl who then thinks she's so pathetic that she actually helps her get stronger so she can defeat the magical girl. And everyone's just so blasé about everything going on. I was like, oh, you grew horns. Yeah, because I'm a demon. Oh, that's cool. And now I gotta defeat a magical girl. What, like the one in the class next door? Yes. What? I just ended up having too much fun watching this that I just have to swim it, to be honest. Yeah, the animation definitely isn't up to par, but it's not hideous either. It's just okay and does what it needs to do. But yeah, beyond that, it's just charming. It doesn't try and take itself seriously, and it just has a lot of fun doing what it is doing. So, and it's another series that has a lot of workout routines going on.
Interesting. They want to be swole magical girls.
So yeah, it swims.
All right, moving on.
Hey.
Keep on getting on. I'm so excited to hear you say the name of the show.
Yeah, I did so well with the last one because it's about my son. This one, on the other hand, okay, let me introduce you to Uchi no ko no tame naraba, ore wa moshikashitara Maou mo Taoseru kamo Shirenai. Or, if it's for my daughter, even I'd defeat a demon lord. Which, doesn't that just sound like a light novel? Guess what? I think it is based on a light novel.
Yes.
Yeah. I am going to go ahead and read the synopsis just because, yeah, it wasn't touched on in our previous episode. So Dale is a cool, composed, and highly skilled adventurer who's made quite a name for himself despite his youth. He's about 17 or 18. One day, a job deep in the forest, he comes across a little devil girl who's almost completely wasted away. Unable to just leave her there to die, Dale takes her home and becomes her adoptive father. Devil or not, Latina is quite adorable, and the adventurer soon finds himself head over heels with being a parent. But why was she out in the forest to begin with, and why does she carry the mark of a criminal? So yeah, this looks very much, especially on the poster, you could think it's an isekai. It's not an isekai, it's just a fantasy world. Very much one that you would encounter in everyday isekai, but technically it's not an isekai. It is very lighthearted and very cute. Oh, I need to backpedal a little bit. So I was going to talk about Try Nights, which was a rugby anime with anime boys, but I learned today on Save Our Progress's Anime Impressions episode that Try Nights, the first episode, isn't coming out until July 30th.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of how we got here. So back to Demon Lord. I decided to watch this. A friend was interested in checking it out, and it seemed, surface level, just kind of cute enough, soft enough that I said, yeah, sure, I will give it a watch. And that's very much what I got. It's a lighthearted watch. There's not a ton of world building outside of the fact that I guess outside of fantasy beasts, the other enemy of like humans is like devils. And Latina does have devil horns that are then hid by putting her hair into cute little pigtails, because that's what they're gonna do. And we learned that Dale basically goes and runs errands for people, like slaying monsters and stuff like that. And on his off time, he lives in the attic of this older couple's restaurant. They have a restaurant, and so he's like learning how to be a parent and care for Latina. And then sometimes he leaves, and then you see like Latina getting to know the older couple and like the people around the restaurant and in the town. She's cute. That's the goal. She's very cute. I don't think that she has like a ton of personality outside of being cute, but that's just if that's what you're going for, if you really just want a cute little girl, she does the trick. She does the trick pretty well. Something that I do kind of like, even though they overplay it eventually, like Dale is like way too like excited about being a parent. He's like a helicopter parent basically. Like they have him going and running these errands, and he's just like, oh man, what present should I bring back for Latina? Does she want a toy? Does she want candy? I've never shopped for little girls before. I don't know what to do. And then he's like, I want to get done with this so I can go back and be with Latina. I don't want to be here. I want to see my daughter. Like it's and like she'll do something like make him dinner, and then he just like bursts into tears, and it's like it's a cute little running joke. He just very eagerly embraces parenthood, even though he doesn't really know what he's doing.
He's a doting father. He's really into it.
He is. And it's just funny because he's like your 17-year-old, like, you know, isekai or fantasy pro tag. So I kind of like that direction. But the thing is, like, there's just not much to this show, and a lot of other aspects of it are very, like, subpar at best. I'm not a big fan of the animation. It's very still. The art can sometimes get a little bit stilted. And then it's just, I guess it's just like unremarkable, I guess. So I am not going to pass it for us. If you are looking for something like cutesy, you can check it out. It doesn't do anything that I would consider explicitly like creepy or fan servicey, but I will also warn, there was a big Twitter post circulating about this, but it goes full bunny drop. And that means that when she grows up, yeah, they get married, so
gross.
That's another reason that I don't need to invest. It's only like 12 episodes long, so I'm thinking they will probably cut it off unless she like has a speed growth like some fantasy girl characters do. But yeah, I don't need to continue watching it. It's going to sink into what was it that she made? Latina made some sort of like shepherd's pie in one episode, and it's gonna sink into the like fluffy golden crust of her shepherd's pie.
Oh, that's a soft sink.
Yeah, because it's nothing bad. It deserves a nice sink.
I kind of want to make shepherd's pie now.
Oh, please.
Send me
snaps.
That in a while.
I'll get jealous.
I might have to make shepherd's pie this week, guys.
I mean, I'd never object to that, so.
Which you can get in England. You know what also displays England and a few other locations, such as, I believe, Greenland and Iceland and Norway, I believe, is brought up in Vinland Saga.
Woo! Woo! Anime of the season! Woo!
Y'all, listen, I would say that my anime that I'm looking the most forward to is Maidens, but just based on story and quality, Vinland Saga is the best anime of the season.
Anime of the season, woo!
It is so good. And I am just, I am beside myself. I'm not worthy to talk about Vinland Saga. I need somebody else who's a little more Can we call Mandy in? Can we just...
Yes. Just live call Mandy.
Yeah, just be like, listen, I know we didn't ask you to ever be on the show, but could you please come over here? Because you are much more worthy than I. This show is just really good. It does a really good thing that some other shows this season frustrated me with. It drops you right in the middle of the action in the first episode. And while I despise that with other shows, this one does a really good job of dropping you in the action, giving you some context clues, and then cutting hard to a flash forward. And it does it so brilliantly that I almost didn't notice that's exactly what it did. It starts to get you familiar with characters and their morals through drip feeding different aspects of the story to you. And the show is about war, and Vikings specifically, engaging in war. And it is implied that it will become a revenge story later on. But for now, within the first 3 episodes, it's just getting you drenched in this water that's so deep and full of meaning. It's so good. It's so good. Vinland Saga is the best. No other anime needs to exist except for maybe Monster.
Ooh,
Everything else can go away. It's just so good.
Damn.
I've only seen 1 episode, but I would agree with you, like, just based off of what we've seen, I would totally put it within, like, monster tier.
Yeah, it's just so good at feeding you information. And a lot of anime that try to do something this unique can fail very quickly in the first few episodes if they try and give you too much at once. Vinland Saga just storyboards expertise in the craft. It's just so good. Even people who are typically not into these kind of shows, I think that you would enjoy it. There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of gore, especially in the first 3 minutes.
Oh yeah.
But it takes the time to let you know that is present, but also lets you know, listen, there's something behind every single action that takes place on screen. The opening is also a banger. I like it a whole lot. And the ED is also really nice as well. Production-wise, it also looks like nothing else I have ever seen. All of the character designs are very, very different. And they belong in the kind of show that this is. It would be odd if these Vikings looked like your typical moe anime girl, you know? The art style fits the show very well. There is CG used that's very well done. And the other thing that I find interesting about this show is there's already some little sprinkles of espionage and behind the scenes kind of plotting and political twists that will be in the future. And it's so nice and juicy. I'm gonna eat it up. This is probably one of those shows that I'm actually gonna try and bother to keep up with. The first 3 episodes dropped all at once on Amazon. And then I think it went on a break. I'm not sure if it's back from that break yet. But once it comes back, it's something that I'm going to drag Dominic into probably watching weekly with me because it's just that good. And it deserves my attention now when a lot of anime, I'll just put on the back burner until we gotta review it later. It demands your attention and it deserves it, so.
I also want to clarify that she says drag, but not because I don't like this show, but because
no.
I like this show. It's just I just got Fire Emblem. Been playing Final Fantasy 14. It's just I got a lot on my plate. Sometimes I need to be reminded to watch an anime. But Vinland Saga is really good.
Listen, they like the Dumbbell show, but yesterday we were watching episode 2 in bed. Because I was like, we gotta watch this at some point, honey. And we were like 17 minutes into the episode, and they were like, it's not over yet? Oh!
I just wanted to go back and play my video games. Why does anime have to take so long?
I mean, that's true.
But I will drag them gently, because they enjoy Vinland Saga. I will have to say, hey, you're gonna have to sit for 30 minutes with, Japanese animation instead of, Japanese video games. And their mind will have to make that decision for them. But we will be watching it, and I am excited. And hopefully, a few more of you guys jump on the Viking boat, because it's going to be a great ride.
I definitely feel like I should watch it. At least the first 3 episodes. And because, as you were describing the start of it, I was like, oh, this sounds like how, what's it called started? I've just completed Arifureta, with starting off in the middle of it and then trying to backpedal to fill you in. And from the sounds of it, this does it a lot better than Arifureta does.
Yeah, Vinland Saga does a really good job of doing time cuts. And just drip feeding you the story. Are you gonna say, Craig?
People also, I've said this before, I'll say it again, people also speak this in the same breath as Legend of Galactic Heroes, Game of Thrones. You want big epics, political intrigue, family houses, big names. like espionage, backstabbery, like
Anger, death, and vengeance.
yes,
Craig's-
essentially.
Craig's opening the doors for me to try and get everybody to watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
That's a
if
tall
they like
order.
If they-
mean,
opening the doors.
It's a tall order.
I mean, it's something you technically can do. It would just have to wait for like a year and a half, probably. Isn't it like over 100 episodes?
Oh,
or
yeah.
something?
Yeah. It's an epic. The best kind of epic.
The
Maybe one day
giant
we'll see.
space epic.
But yes, I think I've gushed enough about Vinland Saga. It's probably the best anime this season, and probably one of the best we're going to get this year. I would not be surprised if this ended up on some of our lists at the end of the year. And if I'm saying that based on 3 episodes, you gotta admit, it's probably pretty good. So definitely go check it out if you are listening to this. If you're going to watch any of the anime we've talked about today, or at least my anime, I would say check out Vinland Saga over the rest of what I've put on the table, which I'll talk about my third pick later. But we're moving around to our last run around the block. Craig, talk to
On
me
your left.
about Dr. Stone.
Dr.
Dr. Stone? Dr. Stone?
Dr. Stone?
I can't
Dr. Stone?
even. I can't count the amount of times that all of
It continued.
but also specifically Dominic said that weekend.
It continued.
I swear there was one time they said it for like 2 minutes straight, just nonstop while we were all high.
I think it even got Zach at a certain point with Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone?
Dr. Stone? It's continued.
So-
It gets said at least 3 times in this household a day.
God damn.
That's amazing.
It's not even, I don't even know why. I've just said it in a strange inflection and it caught on. So basically, the world got petrified and Senku, Science Boy, is like, motherfuckers, science is like cool. I'm gonna resurrect the humanity. And he's going to do that. Hopefully, maybe, but wait. In episode 2, we meet another guy. His name's Tsukasa. He's our villain of the series. He believes that if you resurrect the elder generation, then everyone's gonna go back to fighting each other and warring over territories and whatnot.
I mean,
it's
maybe
as
not a bad point of view. Just
as Zach said, it's like maybe Zach was looking at it as like, man, this guy's being really looking at it as a socialist perspective, but like, it's just science and it's dumb fun. Cass earlier was trying to determine if I would pass or if I'd sink or swim this show. I will say, the manga has illustrations by, I believe the person's name is Boichi, which is very vibrant and detailed with its illustrations. This production, the anime production, is by TMS Entertainment. And some of the faces are kind of off, but despite that, I'm really entertained. It strikes like as Cass said earlier, like, you don't find stuff like this. It's something unique and something different. Like, where else would you find like a series about restarting civilization? And it's a Shonen Jump property, so it'll probably eventually hit a tournament arc at some point.
Tournament arc and post-apocalyptic stone people.
I
world.
mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Just give them enough time to resurrect more people. They'll probably do it.
Who can throw the stone children further?
Oh god, Tsukasa probably could, but he'd probably
Oh my god.
he'd probably throw elderly people instead. That's his whole shtick. So I don't know. I'm still on the fence about this one. You know what? I don't know.
I'm putting a gun to your head. You have to make a decision now.
Yeah, how are you about Fire Force over there?
I've made a decision.
Okay, good. You're better off than I am. This sinks.
Aw, man.
what?
Oh, now everyone pipes up about
it has
this
to
show.
be your choice. We can't bias you.
Yeah,
But-
Craig, come on.
It's fine. Just explain why. I would have tagged on for the first.
You know what? You know what? Fine. No, you know what? This does pass. I initially was like wanting to know.
Okay, does it sink or does it swim? I don't even know.
It swims. It swims.
So basically, what you're telling me is you threw Dr. Stone in the water, let it drown, pulled it out, gave it CPR, and said, "Sorry, buddy." It was just...
I was just kidding, just joking.
I was just
fucking with you.
It's a trust exercise.
Oh my god!
Don't worry. It's an extreme trust exercise. You were petrified the entire time. It's fine.
Do stink.
Okay. Is this the first time this has happened? I have no idea.
I feel like it's the first time that... Because I feel like there have been times where we'll be like, hey, I'll watch it with you, or hey, I don't want to watch it before they make the decision. But I think this is the first time that someone's made a decision, and then all of us in the peanut gallery like had to say our reactions, and then it cut
like,
changed.
Aw, man! Aw, man!
Yeah. I mean... I didn't realize that everyone really dug it that much. I honestly told Cass and Dom...
I told you every time
you
asked me
you don't like anime.
Well, I don't like anime, but I've told you every time you ask me about it. Yeah, I like it. I'll watch it with you.
I appreciate you,
Apparently,
and I appreciate you too,
I'm
Candace.
not good enough.
Dom, you're plenty good enough. You're plenty good enough.
Oh my god.
Did you find them?
I will find them. We will find each other at the movies later
or
tonight.
when we go get dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to dinner and a movie tonight, and I'm staying home. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Are you
luck of the draw.
Teach your class, your kids?
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, this stone person that drowned continues to swim. It was able to be unpetrified after a certain point.
It was gonna sink, and then Senku's like, "Fuck it," and then just like ripped it out of the creek.
God, Taiju is also good. Yuzuriha is also cute. But I can't wait to see what happens next time. Cut up, and each episode, I'm like, yeah, science.
Hell
go guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I rewatched.
Yeah, what is your...
I rewatched episode 1 after I watched it with all of you. Because all I really remembered the first time we watched it was that the like music during the montage part I really, really liked. I was like, damn, I jam with this, but not much else.
Yeah.
So I rewatched it with Get, and Get also really got a kick out of it, which I found super, super cool. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's just such a unique concept that I'm just like, what's gonna happen? Because we're rebuilding civilization, and I like
what conflicts will happen? Like what does this Tsukasa guy bring to the table?
Yeah, so it's fun. It's a unique concept, and the production I think is pretty killer. I really like the opening too, and all of the background music.
But do you like his faces, though? Do you like Senku's faces?
I am gonna get shot for this, but I don't hate Senku. I think he's kind of an enjoyable character, despite his bok choy hair.
I
hate him. I just don't like his character design.
That's totally fair and understandable. He's a bok choy boy. It's just...
I just love the fact that he feels it. He's just really good. He gets into the mood where he's like, "Yes, I'm making science," and then he cracks a grin.
At least he's a good judge of character too, because he likes the other boy who's a good dumb boy. Yeah, I like him.
Who's next?
Me.
Okay, Dom, what do you got?
My final show is Kanata no Astra, or Astra Lost in Space. This was my number 1 pick. And, so the general premise of this show is a bunch of kids go on a space trip into space. To some space space
Gotta
planet.
go to space?
Space.
With their spaceship.
Space.
They get to the planet, and, they get, like, they see this big orb thing, and it like whisks them away into like literally space.
Space.
Deep
Space.
space.
Gotta go space.
Dark space. Gotta go
Space.
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 Space cops.
Could I maybe
Space.
talk? Thanks. All right. That would be nice.
Play Portal, kids. It's a fun game.
So they manage to get back onto a ship or whatever, and then they work out the specifics and decide that they have to basically fly the ship to a certain amount of planets and restock on, like, you know, provisions and everything there in order to make it back safely home. Anyways, that's a very, very basic outlining of the plot. But, before I watched, it actually took me, this was my number one thing, but it took me a while to actually get around to watching this, and everyone was like, oh, the episode's really weird. And I get why people were saying that, but I actually liked it a lot. There's a lot of things that this show, especially the first episode, does with like visual transitions and just sort of showing what the characters are like going through like visual cuts and, you know, like shots that I find incredibly interesting and enjoyable to watch. The actual characters are, you know, pretty fun and enjoyable. The plot has, you know, kind of ramped up in the last 2 episodes or so, where there's a little bit more intrigue to what's going on, despite it just being, you know, despite like beyond it just being like, oh, let's survive and get back home. There's more intrigue being brought into it and everything, and I feel so. I enjoy the show, and it's probably out of the 3 shows that I was personally given, probably my favorite. So, yeah, I like the show a lot. Also, I like the spacesuits. They're cool, and the girls look good in them.
You and Zach would have a debate.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Why is that?
Because
Zach
Zach said
doesn't like
that Zach likes Astra, but he said the one nitpick he had about the show is he hates that they're like skin tight spacesuits. He's like, that's not something that would protect your body in outside space, and also it's just to basically fan service the girls. And I'm like, I mean, but it does it for the guys too.
Well, Zach can get fucked because I like the skin tight spacesuits.
Damn.
But yeah, this is
I'm
actually
on that topic. I think before this anime even like was announced, I think what piqued my interest in this property is I think I saw a picture of the main girl in the spacesuit, and I was like, "That's cute. I wonder what that's from." So it works. The spacesuits work.
Also, I don't, other than like Wings of Hominize, or how it's pronounced, I don't recall anything with like realistic spacesuit designs. Everything is like these skin tight suits
Yeah.
that I can recall, including Gundam.
Because something that's realistic would be pretty hard to animate, probably.
Just a giant bulky space
Like
suit.
the Stay
Yeah,
Puft Marshmallow
so
Man.
it's probably just way easier to just draw a skin tight thing, add some padding, and there you go.
Boom.
That's my guess. And it probably looks better, so.
Yeah.
probably.
This show... Okay, I gotta ask you, because I watched episodes 2 through 4 just a few days ago before the Save Our Progress recording. Does the camera still do that widescreen thing? And
So-
then go
It
full
does.
screen?
So
and then
does.
widescreen?
I kind of discovered the method behind that.
Okay.
Because I remember Cammy brought it up to Cassie, because Cassie hates the widescreen thing.
I do, and I still hate it, but I'm getting used to it.
But
Just,
they do the widescreen whenever they're not in space. Like literally any scene that doesn't take place in space is done with that widescreen thing. And then
So when they're on planets?
when they're on planets and stuff, or when they're in the spaceship. But when
Okay.
they're like out in the open space, when the actual shot is of the open space,
Yeah.
either of the spaceship or the characters like in space or just a shot of fucking space,
Yeah.
it's like full screen. And
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a lot of reasons for that. My guess is just to emphasize the openness of space. I don't know, something like that. But that is what I noticed.
Okay. Interesting.
I think that piggybacking off of Cammy, if you're looking for a mystery show or something with intrigue of mystery, this is probably one of the shows of the season to go check out, because it starts out as a simple survival story, and now we've only watched up to episode 3, but now we're at episode 3 where it's like, okay, there's some stuff going wrong on the ship. Why? Why is there some stuff going wrong on the ship? Could there be a traitor in our midst?
Who done it?
Ooh.
Dun, dun,
Ooh.
Things like that. And at this point, that's the first 3 episodes, so I'll say it's not too much of a spoiler, but it's just like there's these kids in this intense situation where they're stuck in outer space, 5 million light years away from where they're supposed to be. And so now they have to survive with just a spaceship and barely any knowledge of where they are. But on top of that, there might be somebody who's setting them up. There might be a reason that all of these kids were basically sent into space to die. It's just really interesting, and I'm looking forward to figuring out what the answers are. It's very tantalizing.
Cool.
But yeah, this swims.
Awesome.
I don't know if I actually said that, but this swims.
It does.
Cool. I really want to check it out now.
You should tell us about Granbelm is what you should do.
Yeah, I should. Giant robot show, but magical giant robot shows, kind of more what I was hoping Knights of Magic would be like, and it actually delivers on that, which is cool. It, in a weird way, kind of gives me a similar feeling to Release the Spice, not in the plot, but in the feel of the series, if that makes any sense. But yeah, anyway, about the story of it. So it's kind of set modern day real world setting, but you've got descendants of these mage families who magic used to be a thing but was sealed away, and every so often there's sort of a competition amongst magus, sort of similar to the Holy Grail War in the Fate series. And yeah, then they get to summon these giant robots around themselves, which are sort of SD Gundam kind of esque designs to them, which are all hand drawn, which is a good thing because I don't think it would have looked very good in CG. I think between the designs of them and how they move, it probably would have really looked ugly in CG. The main character, who is called Mangetsu, ends up somehow in this sort of magical version of the world and doesn't have a clue how she got there, and ends up getting saved by Shingetsu, who ends up teaching her how to actually summon a giant robot and fight, and you've got all these other people trying to fight and battle amongst each other to basically be the last one standing and unlock magic for the world again, or for themselves, and either hoard it or share it out, or do whatever they want with it, basically. So, all granting wish device, basically. Main character is kind of Mary Sue in that she just is thrown into it and is somehow awesome, but is just doing it because it's what she can do. She doesn't have any particular desire. It's something she can do, so she'll do it. Which is why she's helping out Shingetsu.
Well, you don't really need to summarize the entire show. You could just talk to us a bit about why you picked it and what you liked or did not like about it.
Yeah, I did not like the screen shakes that kept on happening during the battles because it really made the battles hard to follow and kind of feel like it was to hide sloppier animation of the battles. the individual characters outside of Mangetsu and Shingetsu, it kind of goes a little bit into each of their motives as they get introduced, and I think those are really interesting and intriguing. Yeah, outside of Mangetsu's, because I want to do it because I can thing. I think there might be something interesting to talk about if I can convince anyone else to watch it with me. So yeah, I'll swim it.
All right.
Even if it does end up being a bit of a dumpster fire later.
Yeah. So giving some context, earlier when I said there are shows this season that drop you in the middle of the action and don't explain shit, this is what I was talking about, was this shit.
Yeah, it kind of does do that.
I despised the first episode of this show. And the more I thought about it, the more pissed off I got. And then I watched episodes 2 and 3 and I liked it a little bit more. But I do think that the first episode has some pretty sloppy execution in regards to getting you even minutely invested. Then again, I could be off my rocker because Zach loved the shit out of the first episode of the show.
I also really like the first episode. I thought the first episode was great. Then again, I don't always need continuous context. If you throw robots in front of me and have them fight and promise to explain it maybe later, then I'll be like, okay, I'll wait for that. But
and that's fine. I think that the first episode looked good. I just was frustrated because the way I put it to Zach was, if somebody walked up to me after I watched the first episode of Granbelm and was like, oh, I'm looking to watch Granbelm, do you recommend it? I'd be like, and then they'd be like, could you tell me what it's about? And I'd be like,
I'd be like, there's one episode, can you ask me in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Also true.
But yeah.
That's what I would say.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I personally did not like how the first episode was set up.
A lot of yelling and a lot of explosions.
And I know I'm not the only one here who feels that.
Yeah, to tune into that, actually, that was something that I mentioned when we watched it, that I just don't... There's a thing in anime where they make characters, like, have super angsty faces and they, like, scream a lot of their, like, frustrations and turmoil a lot, and it's often used for drama. But, like... every fucking character in the first episode of Granbelm makes, like, the crazy, like, angry face and then, like, has to scream. And I'm like, why? It's just annoying when there's no weight to it to me. I was like, shut up. But, yeah, that's just, again, being thrown in the middle. And maybe they'll build stakes throughout. Who knows?
And they have, like, since the first episode, like, I watched the second and third episodes, and they're doing a lot better at being like, okay, this is why this person has these motivations.
Okay.
But when the entire first episode is people just screaming and yelling at each other and you have no context, it's just kind of like, if it was just them fighting and robots and, like, battle screaming, that'd be one thing, but it was, like, literally showing that there were people pissed off at other people.
Yeah!
And, like, I'm like, okay, why?
Yeah.
But anyway, long story short, I'm happy you passed this one. Honestly, I was gonna be a little upset if you didn't.
Yay!
Because it's, since the second and third episodes, I'm enjoying it a lot more. It's fun. It's interesting.
Hey.
It's interesting. Okay.
Interesting. it gets in there. Animation's also really nice.
Yeah, it is. Like, I think after episode 1, they stopped the camera shakes all the time as well.
I actually didn't even mind the camera shakes. I thought the first episode was beautifully shot. I was just mad that they didn't give me a reason to be invested.
Mm-hmm.
Might have just been me then.
No, not at all. I think everybody has stuff they can... I mean, hell, Zach looked at Astro and was like, man, I did not like those spacesuits. And the rest of us are like, I thought the spacesuits were fine, and or I really like the spacesuits. It's a taste thing.
Yeah.
Either you like them or you don't.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And that is okay. If you do not like the camera shakes, you do not like the camera shakes. That is okay. Some things are taken and some things are given.
I was waiting for you to find some magical way. You had to. I thought you were going to go for the well, it's a given anyway. But you did even better. Okay. So yeah, this is my last pick to talk about. This is Given. They were like, you spoke so much Japanese in your last 2 entries. We're just going to give you a simple title this time.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. So Given is based off of a BL manga that tends to cover, it's like a drama story about a band. You've got 2 high school boys as the main leads. You have Uenoyama, who has played guitar his whole life, is very good at it, also has interest in basketball for some reason, which they don't really touch on. I don't know why that's a relevant plot point yet. Who knows? He just kind of goes throughout his day. He doesn't have a lot of direction in his life. He goes to band practice, but he's not really finding meaning in anything that he does. And then one day he encounters Mafuyu Sato, a very soft boy who is very airheaded and just happens to be like sleeping in the corner of a school with a guitar on his back. And Uenoyama is like, why do you have this guitar? And Mafuyu's like, I'm soft. I don't talk. I'm not going to tell you why I have this guitar, but I want to play it. Teach me kudasai. And then Uenoyama is like, I don't want to fucking deal with this, but he starts dealing with it because Mafuyu Sato has a cute face. And he starts teaching Mafuyu and also introduces Mafuyu to the members of his band, which is a graduate student and an undergrad college student. They are very good boys. I like them. And now it's just basically, I think Zach called it simplistic in the Save Our Progress episode, which I think is very fair. It's a lighthearted, like BL show with some undertones of some drama that they're going to start building to, mainly surrounding Mafuyu because he doesn't emote and he doesn't react to a lot, but we've seen flashbacks. And so I think there's more at the surface that they are going to dig into there, but it's also just really adorable to watch Uenoyama like slowly falling in love with him. It's cute. It's got good respect for the medium. There are a lot of good just like playing in a band reference or like instrumental references, and like one joke I loved where he's trying to explain what an amp is, like when you plug in your guitar and then it makes it come through the speakers. And he's like, but you have to be careful, like turning the volume knob. And then Mafuyu's just like, what happens if I turn it all the way up? And then he just takes the guitar plug, puts it in, and then he's like, why don't you try it yourself? Just go. And he cranked the speed all the way up high. And then his other bandmates are like, don't fucking blow our ears out like that. Like, why are you even joking about this? It's just fun. It has good respect for the band medium. The concert, not concert, but like the jam session scenes are also pretty well animated. You do have like the CG instrumental rigs, but you've got that even in shows like Carol and Tuesday to a degree. It's, to me, I think that they are well done. They're definitely not egregiously terrible like a lot of other music animes that I've seen. My biggest drawbacks with this show is primarily in the production. I think it's very underwhelming myself. The character designs are all right, but the animation sometimes is really bad. Like, have you ever seen in an anime when a character's walking, but then it looks like they just like speed walked and like skipped like 10 frames? So just like they're far away. Ugh. All of a sudden, they're right there. Yeah, like there were a couple walking scenes of that in this show, and I'm not sure if they were for comedic effect or not. So there's just like a little bit of a jankiness, I think, that I noticed, and sometimes they opt to like very simplistic faces for humor, but like sometimes it just doesn't translate perfectly well. There's also a lot of weight about Mafuyu having a good singing voice, and there's a moment where he sings, but I didn't like the sound of his voice. I thought it sounded really awkward. So it was like, oh, this scene's super cute, because like, Uenoyama thinks that his singing is cute, but also I think he sounds weird, and I just want it to stop. So it's interesting, and I've heard other people aren't as bothered by the production as I am. On the My Anime List threads, people don't really say too much about it. Zach also seems pretty not as harsh on the production as I am. So I was conflicted on this show, but I think because both music and especially band anime and good BL anime are very hard to come by in this day and age, especially to like be reviewed on the podcast. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a shot, and I am going to swim it. And yeah, look forward to more music and seeing how the band evolves.
Everybody's learning to follow their heart this episode.
Right? Right.
Yeah.
Can you follow your heart, Cassie?
Well, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
we're gonna have some words.
What is the final verdict? I'm curious.
So, the last anime I am going to be talking about is NN no Shobotai, also known as Fire Force. The show is about a young boy named Shinra, aka my newest son to the family, and his misadventures, unjokingly, not really misadventures, but his duties in a new Fire Force battalion that goes in and basically assists in putting individuals who've caught fire, called infernals, basically turn into fire demons, to rest. Basically giving them, I don't know a nice way to say this, but like a peaceful way to pass on, even though they're technically killing them.
Yeah. Euthanizing.
Kind of. It kind of is. But that's what makes the show kind of interesting and made me really interested from the get-go. Shinra lost his mother and brother in a fire when he was a kid, and a lot of people believe that he is either at fault or just a devil because he has a very bad habit of smiling when he feels awkward or sad. So when his mother and brother died at their funeral, he couldn't keep a smile off his face. And so a lot of people think he's this demented evil child, when in reality he's greatly broken, loved his family, and just wants to be a hero. So he's a soft boy. And I was talking with Zach recently, we talked recently on Save Our Progress about this, but we have a great like for the fact that a lot of current shonen protagonists are being displayed as soft boys who basically pass out mercy, more so than just, punching things to death. And it's something that I really appreciated. Also, the world that Fire Force takes place in is very interesting, and it plays with a lot of interesting different art styles that I found really fascinating and great and wonderful. In episode 1. Episode 2, there definitely was a bit of a budget cut, you could tell. Everything was a little bit weirder paced, and the animation definitely took a nosedive. A lot more stills, a lot way far away shots. Now people's faces were missing. But I feel like in episode 2, when I had time to think about it, the feeling was still there. The mercy killing and what it entails was still there. And the respect that needs to be given to those who are in these kind of dire situations need. And I think that still rang true. Then we got to episode 3, which originally I was not sure if I was even going to be able to watch today. The show was unfortunately timed with the tragedy at the Kyoto Animation fire that happened like a week or so ago. And so Fire Force was respectfully and understandably delayed. And there are a few shots in the 3rd episode where you can definitely tell they were just paying respects or being respectful of the situation. For example, unfortunately, episode 3's fire takes place in a building, like a work building. So it would have just been a very horribly timed episode. But even in the aftermath, when they show the building, it's very, very briefly. And in different lighting, and there's one shot that's from very far away of a boat just going by, just so you can take away from the image of the burned building. So I appreciate that they did that. I did not appreciate that they introduced a character whose entire spiel is that she accidentally makes men grope her. That's her thing.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And I've just been frustrated because the show, for the most part, is very respectful to the men and the women who are on the Fire Force team. One thing that I really liked in episode 2 was that the female officer that is also on their team basically Maki, yes. I was getting to that. Maki basically beats the shit out of Shinra and another character who's introduced. I believe his name is Arthur. When they take her very lightly. And I liked that it was displayed that you can't take women lightly. They are just as powerful and just as capable as you. And she is. And then they introduced this character whose entire point is to be awkward comedy fan service. And that is something I absolutely fucking hate.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything, really. If there's a few tropes in anime that I hate, that's one of the ones that I hate the most. It would be at the top of the list. There's no reason for it. There's just no reason for this to have taken place.
She calls it her lucky lecher lure, and I do not know. I don't know why the author made that.
I think it's implying that she, for some reason, has a bad habit of making guys feel lucky because they get to grope her and touch her. Because she just falls into awkward situations. And I don't know, making my son grope a girl on TV just makes me mad.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's frustrating.
Do you forgive her for that frustration,
What's
though?
the
Can
verdict?
You look past it?
What's the verdict?
The verdict is, I have consumed and love a lot of media that has problematic elements. In the past. And I had to think about it for a while after I cooled down, and I was like, is this one character who may or may not even be that reoccurring, because she's not on their brigade. She's from a completely different, like, core. Should I sink a show that is very promising and has a lot of new and interesting ideas and stories to tell, simply due to one fan service character? And I don't think that's fair, because I think that a lot of other parts of Fire Force are doing things well. They've introduced in episode 3 an actually intriguing and interesting villain. They're doing this thing now where they're having you doubt the organization that you are a part of, which is very intriguing. It's introduced in episode 3 because they're in section 8, or their particular branch is 8. So they're, the 8th Brigade, but there's 7 others, and none of them talk to each other. All of them keep stuff secret, and it's heavily implied that one of those places may or may not have the answers to curing the problem with infernals, but they're just not sharing that information.
Yeah, they all answer to different organizations as well.
So there's a lot of interesting intrigue there. And I do still really love Shinra as a character, and I do love the solemn moments with the families that have happened so far in each episode. So, I think those are better than the bad fan service character. So I'm gonna swim it based on that. Because I don't think that one bad thing should ruin an entire experience. But I could be wrong, and she could be in every fucking episode, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't dislike her as a character. I just like what she stands for. I despise why she's there. But maybe they'll give her some character development or some time away from other males and the male gaze to actually shine, because her power set's actually really interesting. She's the one who has the cat-like fire powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed that is the case, because when I saw her in the opening, I was like, ooh, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. And that is a bummer that that's what it turns out to be about. But I'm proud of you, and I'm very happy that you love the pros enough to outweigh the cons.
I have to go with my heart.
Right?
I have to go with... Well, we'll see if my heart betrays me. But to be clear, this show may or may not be 4 cores long. I am passing the first season, which is being slated for 23 episodes. It, much like My Hero Academia and any other long-running shonen that we would talk about on this show, we can be evaluated season by season. I feel like we'll probably do that with Fruits Basket as well. But
and Dr. Stone, maybe?
Perhaps.
Dr. Stone?
Dr. Stone? I hear that's 2 core, but if it goes past that, then yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we can evaluate on a case-by-case basis for sure. But I'm gonna say for Fire Force, we can at least 23 episodes is not like we're signing up for a 100 episode commitment. If we get to the 23rd episode and I realize I made a mistake, I just know not to pass season 2. But I think that there's a lot of good here, and I think that giving it the chance to shine is worth our time.
Cool.
Awesome.
Another one I've been meaning to check out, but haven't yet. There's a lot this season.
First episode is BAM.
There's a lot this season that we've passed. I'm like, I probably should check these out.
I'm surprised you haven't.
I've been
A lot of
meaning
it's hype.
to.
Summer season has ended up being a lot more interesting than
Yeah.
than I
Yeah.
thought it would be.
Definitely.
A lot of
It's-
interesting premises, etc.
To run through everything we sank and swam, we sank BEM, Copcraft, Arifureta, Shokugyou de Sekai Saikyou, which was the Isekai show, I believe. We also sank Katsute Kami Datta Kemono-tachi, or To the Sacred Beasts. We also sank Uchi no ko no Tame naraba. Ore wa... Oh my god, I hate this.
Yep.
Moshikashitara Maou mo Taoseru kamo Shirenai.
You did it. Good job.
However, we swam 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shows, which is actually pretty good. That's what I kind of am hoping is going to happen most seasons. So we swam 8 shows. The first being Lord El-Melloi II.
Yes.
Sei no Jikenbo, Rail Zeppelin Grace. We also swam Araburu Kisetsu no Otome-domo, Dumbbell non-kilo Moteru, which, by the way, I love that dumbbell was translated to how heavy are the dumbbells you lift and completely left out the kilo part because most of us don't actually fucking measure things in kilos. They're just appealing to us dumb Americans. I love it. We also swam Machikado Mazoku, Vinland Saga, Dr. Stone, last minute Dr. Stone, Kanata no Astra, Granbelm, Given, and NN no Shobutai, which I was wrong. We passed more than 8 shows. I counted wrong. We passed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which isn't that bad. 2 more than I
Good
thought.
lord.
Does that
Good
mean
lord.
each of us swam too?
Everybody swam
Yep.
too.
Cool. Good season.
A lot of us did that thing where we were on the fence, but we swam it anyway, and I'm proud of us.
Yes.
Let's hope that they're all good.
Yep.
I'm sure they will be. That being said, what are you guys most excited to watch more of?
Dumbbells.
Dumbbell? Oh, that's awesome.
Dumbbells and Duckstone. Admittedly.
I'm most excited about Vinland Saga and probably Astra.
Yeah, Vinland Saga, I think comes back this weekend, so I'll probably get that in.
Probably
Yeah.
Fire Force, Vinland Saga, and Astra. For me.
Yes. Cammy, what are you most looking forward to?
Case Files and Maidens.
Yeah, Maidens is up there as well. I love Maidens. Honey, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to playing Fire Emblem on my Nintendo
Aye.
Switch.
Of course.
Yeah!
When you are forced to watch anime.
It's pretty anime.
It is really fucking
Okay,
anime.
if I put a gun to your head and said, from the summer season, we have to watch something right now, what would you pick?
Fire Emblem
Fire
Three
Emblem
Houses!
came out in the summer. I'll
Oh
watch
my-
someone play that.
Astral
Oh
Chain
my
will come out
God.
next month.
Wait, what comes out next
Astral
month?
Chain.
Astral Chain.
Astral Chain.
The fuck
Anyways,
is that?
That's
it's a game I'm going to get and play.
JoJo
Um,
Cops.
Wow.
So I'm
That's out.
I'm looking forward to Vinland Saga.
Yeah. Is that it?
That's the big one. That's the only one that matters.
You
Well,
know,
I'll watch other things, I guess.
you're
but,
not wrong. You're not wrong.
But I mean, I'll watch Vinland Saga and ignore a lot of things, and then begrudgingly watch other things instead of play video games.
Anyway, this has been Annie Chatbox, episode 120. Before I actually let y'all go, I'm going to hit you up with our social links. So, I might actually want to get those up. That'd be helpful. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, Dominic is taking care of the Twitter, announcing when our stuff goes live on Patreon, in addition on our SoundCloud and other various podcast sources. You can follow us at twitter.com/AnnieChatbox. Sometimes they'll make a sly comment about a current anime out or ask a question, so keep an eye out for there or follow us there. It could be a fun time for you. If you'd like to write to us in long form, we also have an email at anniechatmail@gmail.com. If you write us, we will read your email on the episodes at some point. We tend to try and wait until we have a handful. But if you do write us, we will indeed respond via our lovely podcast chat room. And by chat room, I mean exactly where we are right now. It's fun. If you are listening to us on one thing, there are many other things you can choose to listen to us on. We are on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Our Patreon is at patreon.com/AnnieChatbox. And our current patrons that we love oh so very much are Sarah, Corpsey, and Carol, Suki, Paul, and our newest patron, Trebleclef, whose name still eludes me. It's like I see what she did there, but it surprises me every time. It's the gift that keeps on giving, really.
Perfect.
If you love hearing about losers talking about anime, there's another podcast you can listen to.
Wow.
Oh, shit!
Damn!
Wow.
And that
Get
is...
destroyed!
And that is Save Our Progress at soundcloud.com/Save Our Progress. We recently actually did a talk about spring and summer anime. I was there. It was great. It was very much fun with Craig and Zach. Craig is still touting it as if it is a gaming podcast, which is hilarious. But they're mostly a variety podcast at this point. They talk about whatever the fuck they want. I just love that we're very slowly turning them into an actual rival anime podcast. Like, eventually that's all they're going to talk about. Cammy was also on a recent episode where they talked about Kiki's delivery service, which I have yet to listen to, but I'm looking forward to hopefully listening to this week if, for some reason, I can go back to work.
Yeah, not necessarily going back to work, but yeah, listening to the episode.
But that being said, anybody have any thoughts, feelings, emotions about any of the seasonal anime before we get out of here?
Summer is stacked and fall is nothing but sequelitis. It's a good offset.
Basically, yes, exactly that. Oh, one more thing. When I was talking, hey, that sounded like gun morphing.
Oh God.
When I was talking to a friend of mine, and I don't even know how we got on this conversation, but I was like, you know what would actually be a really cool just like plot device they could throw into Dr. Stone with like the creating new humanity? Fucking dinosaurs came back over the like how many years that nature just overgrew.
That'd be awesome.
If Dr. Stone has dinosaurs in it, I will be so back on that shit.
Hell
You
yeah.
have no idea. I think it's kind of like Dominic and robots. They see robots and they're good. For me, it's like dinosaurs and magical girls.
I see dinosaurs and I want them to be killed.
I'm so sad.
We need more dinosaurs in anime. Fucking make an isekai where they go back to the prehistoric era.
Guys, I apparently made Dominic feel really bad about playing Monster Hunter because they would keep... But in my defense, they kept telling me every time they were mercilessly murdering a dinosaur.
That's what you do in that game.
You have to.
You're allowed to,
dinosaurs.
But you don't have to tell me every single time it happens. And the best part is eventually...
We were on voice chat. What was I going to talk about?
Anything
I was playing the dinosaur killing game.
And then at one point, they were like, "Oh, look, Cassie, there's some peaceful ones. I'm gonna kill them."
You get items from killing them too.
Yeah, you get raw materials.
Why did you lure your sweet significant other in by being
raw
like,
materials.
"Look, peaceful dinosaurs. I'm gonna kill them."
Cammy gets it. What the fuck?
Why not?
All to make your character better.
Why not? It says more about you than it does about me, honey.
Why not?
That game actually has an extension that's coming out.
If you can't handle that the dinosaurs gotta die, then I'm sorry. It's not my problem. They're all gone anyways.
It's true.
I'm sad now. But hopefully they're alive and well in Dr. Stone somewhere.
Exactly.
My fucking God.
They'll be allies of justice.
I want dinosaurs with capes.
I will.
What
I
about
will let you
dinosaurs
know.
with flowers on their head?
That'd be fine too. That'd be cute as
Because
fuck.
that happened in Arifureta.
Oh,
I'm still not gonna watch it.
I know. Don't watch it. You
This
won't
is
like it, but I'm gonna find a clip of it.
I'm not interested in vor that doesn't commit.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And with that said, we should probably get out of here. Some people got to go to movies. Some people got to go to sleep. Some people need to turn up their AC. So for now, have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oyasumi.